It was a big week for both hockey and basketball teams.
Yes, it was, Cliff. We've got highlights, we've got analysts, we've got it all, and it's coming up now on Sports Paws. Welcome to this week's episode of Sports Paws. I'm Carolyn Fales.
And I'm Cliff Nadel. And what a week it was for Quinnipiac Athletics.
You're absolutely right about that, Cliff. And it all started Friday night up at the High Point Solutions Arena in a rematch between the women's hockey team and the Harvard Crimson.
The Bobcats fell to the Crimson in their first meetup of the season. Tyrell Walden-Martin sat down with head coach Seeley and goaltender Chelsea Laden to preview the big game.
Would you guys consider this the biggest home game of the season so far?
Well, it's definitely become that. You know, we're a point ahead of them in the standings. It's our last game against Harvard this year. Clearly, we both want to finish in first place. So all the games have evolved based on what's happened prior to being huge games for us.
And since losing to Harvard on December 6th, what is different about this team going into Friday's game?
I'm not sure there is a lot different. I thought we played really well at Harvard. You know, it's always a battle. It's always a low-scoring game with them. You know, they came out one goal ahead in their building, and I think you know, that was our last game of the first half, and we reeled off 7 straight wins to start the second half. So I thought we showed up in a good place and have been playing really good hockey.
Just to add to that, I would say that the only really big difference in going to this game would be that we just played 2 of the best teams in the nation. Now we're, you know, heading into Harvard. That's something we really didn't get to do before last time we played them. So I really wouldn't want to be going into this weekend any different.
And I was going to say, after coming off of those 2 straight losses against 2 top 10 teams in the nation, just how are you motivating the team just to be prepared for this game?
I think we're all on the same page, and as Chelsea said, now we have a better understanding of where we fit, you know, where there might have been a little bit of a confidence issue heading into those 2 games because it was something we hadn't experienced. I think coming out of them, we realized we can play with anyone, and it was great preparation for this game.
And just in practice, how are you guys preparing? Like, what is basically the game plan for Friday?
Well, as I said earlier, we have to be tight defensively because that's how the games are with this team. I think throughout the year, we've had a team that's great at showing up every game, wanting to win every game. It's far and away the best team I've experienced in terms of just showing up every game. And I think we all understand this time of the year, you have to amplify that a little bit. So I think we all know what's at stake, but I think we've been working hard all year towards this time of season.
1 point separates you guys in the standings, and just what would a win do just to give you guys a little more breathing room? How important is that just as the season starts to wind down?
Well, it'd be vital. It'd be a 3-point difference with 7 games left each. So, you know, one way or another, if they were going to catch us, they'd have to get 4 more points than us in 7 games. So I think that'd be a tough task. Obviously, going the other way, it wouldn't be as critical for us if we ended up 1 point behind, although we're not thinking that way. I think for both of us, it's probably going to be the biggest game of the year.
All right, and we're going into the Harvard highlight right now. Will the Bobcats be able to beat the Crimson this time around? Let's find out. Early in the first period, Carly Heffernan shot on Chelsea Laden. It won't go in. We have no score. Later in the first, Sydney Roosler takes a shot on Emryn Smashmeyer. It won't go in. Still no score. We're tied at 0-0. At the end of the first, shots in the first period were 9-5 in favor of QU. In the second period, Cheyenne D'Arcangelo passes to Nicole Costa for a shot on Mashmeyer, and we are going to get a shot in for QU. QU leading 1-0. That's D'Arcangelo's 100th career point. Really exciting moment for her. In the second, Nicole Connery passes to D'Arcangelo. It won't go in. It's still 1-0 Quinnipiac. Harvard looking to fight back. Kaylee Armstrong gets a goal in past Chelsea Laden. We have a tie game at 1-1. Early in the third, Lexi Lang with a bullet to Chelsea Laden. It'll get deflected, still 1-1. Looking for a score. Later in the third, Morgan Fitzward with a diving shot on Harvard. Still 1-1, we've got no score. Where is this game going? In a last-ditch effort by Harvard, Josephine Pucci tries to put one in past Laden. It won't go. Game is tied at 1-1, and we're going to overtime. Late in OT, Sarah Edney shoots. It goes off Sydney Daniels' skate right there, and it will go in. Harvard defeats Quinnipiac 2-1 for the second time this season.
And the question is, Carolyn, would the women's ice hockey team be able to bounce back from their defeat against Harvard? Well, let's get the action underway. In the second period, the Bobcats are on a power play, and you see some excellent puck movement by the Bobcats. And you see here Cheyenne Darkangelo with an excellent back pass to Nicole Costa, who gets it over the goalkeeper's pad, and the Bobcats take a 1-0 lead. Later in the second period, you see freshman TT Cianferrano with some excellent skating ability and puck movement, and with a nice ticker-tape pass to Nicole Connery, and the Bobcats take a 2-0 lead. In the third period, the Bobcats bring it up the ice into the Dartmouth zone. The Bobcats fighting for possession of the puck when Erica Uden-Johansson takes the puck and passes it to Nicole Costa with her second goal of the game. The Bobcats take a 3-0 lead. In the next possession, Dartmouth takes the puck and gets the shot off a rebound, and Brooke Abbey takes it and scores, and would end 3-1, and that would be the final.
Last week, the women's #3 ranking in the USCHO.com poll was the best in program history. This week, the Bobcats went into their weekend games at #5, sitting just below the Crimson at #4. Boston College continues to lead the pack at the #1 spot. After this weekend, however, Quinnipiac sits at the top of the ECAC conference standings.
When Sports Paws returns, we'll tell you how the men's hockey team fared this weekend in their games at Brown and Yale. The MAAC men's basketball standings are close from top to bottom. Basketball beat reporters Andrew Badillo and Dylan Fearon debate their power rankings. Don't change the channel. Sports Paws will be right back.
Wake up, Quinnipiac! It's the morning after! Hey! Come on, guys, it's time for TMA! Let's go! What's the morning after? Mondays at 10, only on Q30.
Looking for debate and analysis of your favorite Quinnipiac sports?
Attacking and pressing. I mean,
right, and it's not and what they're doing isn't working.
But unfortunately, they couldn't finish the Colgate game, so I think definitely those are the keys that the Bobcats need to watch.
Had guys that can take the ball in the latter stages of the second half.
I think those
even
are
with limited minutes.
In the MAAC, they play the run and gun style.
Q30's and QBSN's Bobcat Breakdown brings all that to you and more. Live every Monday night at 8:30, tune in to see analysis of your Bobcats from the week before. Every sport from every season, it's all right here on Bobcat Breakdown.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike's sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken and cheese for just over $4. Giant cheesesteak subs and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q-Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
In the next chapter of the storied rivalry between the Quinnipiac Bobcats and the Yale Bulldogs, this one taking place at Ingalls Rink. And this game was all about the goaltending with Alex Lyon for Yale and Michael Gartig for Quinnipiac. Going into the first period, Quinnipiac looking to strike first. Tommy Schutt passes to Andrew Taverner. He shoots, but it's stopped by Lyon. And later in the first, after a collision on center ice, Sam Annis will pick up the puck. He'll take it into Yale territory and make quite a move to pull one in past Lyon. Annis was huge for the Bobcats in this game. Quinnipiac up 1-0. In the second period, Yale looking to strike back. John Hayden will pass to Mike Doherty. Save made by Gartig. Yale still scrambling around trying to get something to happen. They bring it back out. Still in control. They try to put another one past Gartig. It won't go. Yale unable to capitalize on this possession. And we'll move on. And Yale, Frank DiChiara passes to Carson Cooper. He scores, ties the game 1-1. And we'll go into the third period. Matt Pekka to Travis St. Denis to Annis. Annis will put it in for his second of the game. Bobcats now take a 2-1 lead. With minutes left in the third, Yale isn't going away. The puck comes around to Obukowski, and he scores on guard take. Bulldogs tie the game 2-2, and this game will head to overtime. In overtime, St. Denis attempts a far shot, but it's pushed away by line. The game ends in a 2-2 tie, and here's head coach Rand Pecknold after the game.
Yeah, I thought Gartsy was great. I thought he made some big saves. I thought both goalies were great. I think it was a great exhibition of goaltending tonight by both kids, and a couple. I think both teams missed a couple half-empty nets and stuff like that. But that's part of hockey, and I think we missed some and they missed some. But I think that added to the excitement of the game.
USCHO.com released their latest men's hockey poll, and there's a lot of changes from the previous USCHO poll. Quinnipiac is now ranked 18th in the latest poll. Minnesota State dropped from their spot as the #1 team in the country and are now the 3rd ranked team in the country. North Dakota moved up in the latest poll and are now the #1 team in the country. The Harvard Crimson are still the highest ranked ECAC team in the latest poll at the #4 spot in the poll. Switching from the ice to the hardwood, the men's side of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference has been tightly contested this season.
Q30 Sports basketball beat reporter Andrew Badillo and Dylan Fearon debated their power rankings.
Thanks a lot, guys. I'm joined alongside men's basketball beat reporter Dylan Fearon to go over our men's basketball power rankings for the MAAC. Dylan, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
All right, so basically we're just going to run through our power rankings, and then we're going to have a little bit of a debate going. So first on my rankings, I have Iona, Ryder, and Canisius rounding out my top 3. Next, I have Manhattan, Quinnipiac, and Monmouth rounding out my top 6. Keep in mind that the top 5 teams in the MAAC get a bye in the conference tournament. Next, I have Siena, St. Peter's, and Fairfield, and then rounding out my bottom 2 are Marist and Niagara.
Well, Andrew, our polls are pretty similar. Our top 4 is exactly the same: Iona, Ryder, Canisius, and Manhattan. Then it starts getting a little different. I have Monmouth at 5th and Quinnipiac at 6th. Then Siena, Fairfield, and St. Peter's at 7, 8, 9, and to round it out, Marist and Niagara. The thing that stands out to me, Andrew, is you have Quinnipiac at 5th and Monmouth at 6th. Why is that?
Well, Dylan, I don't know how you could put Quinnipiac behind Monmouth in the standings. I mean, Quinnipiac has just been a completely different team over the past few weeks in the MAAC after starting 0-4. Usman Drame, Evan Conti, and Kasim Chandler have all been coming off the bench rather than starting, and this team has just been completely different. They're scoring more. They're completely dominating on the glass, which you sort of saw to a lesser degree at the beginning of the season, and they've just been a more complete basketball team. While Monmouth has struggled to score the basketball at some points during the season. Justin Robinson is their real only dynamic player on offense. Max DeLeo does contribute quite a bit, but they're not a dynamic offensive team, whereas Quinnipiac, if they get the point guard position going and Usman Drame going down low, I think they're a top 3 offense in this conference.
First of all, I'm going to stop you right there because Monmouth's still 8-3 in the MAAC. They still find ways to win. They're 4-1 on the road this year. They've won at Ryder. They've won at Canisius. Don't forget a tough non-conference schedule. They competed at Maryland, at Southern Methodist, teams like that. They lost on a buzzer beater to Rutgers. They're a lot better than a 12-10 team that they stand at. Another thing is you mentioned Quinnipiac and they're scoring a lot more. They scored 57 points against Canisius on Friday night. Usman Drame, who you also mentioned, was 6 for 14 from the field. Zyhurst was 8 for 24. They don't shoot the ball well. They shot 33% from the field on Friday night. You said they're a force to be reckoned with, but they lost at Canisius. Monmouth had won in Buffalo. It's kind of hard to put an 8-3 team at 6th in your power rankings, don't you think?
Yeah, but I mean, Dylan, you can't just look at the records. I mean, look at a team like Monmouth. They all year have been struggling to score. And just Quinnipiac, I just look at the personnel that Quinnipiac has and just hear me out for a second. You have Zyhurst, Usman Drame, Evan Conti, Justin Harris. These are
still 5-6.
Dylan, they're still 5-6, but it is the now. We're looking at the now rather than the past. Yeah, Monmouth had a good start to the MAAC. They started off 4-0. They beat Iona at home, but we're looking at the MAAC as it stands now. And right now, I still think that Quinnipiac has a better chance of challenging the upper echelon of the MAAC rather than Monmouth.
Toughest thing to do in conference play is win on the road, and that's exactly what Monmouth has done, and that's exactly what Quinnipiac has failed to do. It's very, very difficult to put an 8-3 team behind a 5-6 team in conference play. That's just my opinion.
Well, that's all the time we have for now. Back to you guys at the desk.
When we come back, we'll see how the men's basketball team fared in their weekend trip up to Western New York. And basketball beat reporter Morey Hershgordon joins us to break down the women's side of the MAAC standings. Sports Paws will be right back.
Welcome to A Sheer Sensation, North Haven's premier cosmetology service, located at 140 Washington Avenue, minutes from Hamden. We offer an array of services, from basic cuts and colors to lash extensions and formaldehyde-free keratin treatments. We also provide hair chalk and styling for men. When you spend $60, your Q card will get you 10% off. Call us at 203-239-6477 to make your next appointment at A Sheer Sensation.
Welcome to Joya Spa and Salon in Hamden. Whether you want a new look or the perfect wedding day hair, come to us for complete hair and nail care, cuts, styles, updos, extensions, and beautiful dimensional hair color, as well as manis and pedis, acrylics, gels, and shellac. Treat yourself to a facial, a peel, or microdermabrasion. Relax with a variety of massage techniques, including Swedish and hot stone massage. Joya Spa and Salon. Call today.
We are your source for entertainment news.
And we're going into the Canisius highlight now.
Yes.
You're going to take that one away, Cliff.
And the men's basketball team traveled up to Buffalo to face Canisius. Let's get the action underway. In the first half, the Bobcats bringing up the ball. When they see James Ford, takes the ball, moves for an open man, passes it to James Ford, who takes the easy fadeaway jumper and makes it. And then just Canisius gets a steal. Phil Valenti takes the ball, passes it to Cassius Robertson, who makes the easy layup. And another steal this time by Jan Grajelinski, who passes it to Cassius Robertson, who makes the layup. Jermaine Crumpton takes the ball, shows some excellent power moves, and shoots and makes the hook shot. In the second half, Zaid Hurst takes a rebound, passes it, and makes the layup. James Ford takes the three and makes it. Zaid Hurst off the inbound. Zaid Hurst off the inbound. Zaid Hurst makes the shot. And here's James Crumpton takes the ball and slams it home. And Canisius wins the game 63-57.
Men's basketball took on the Niagara Purple Eagles this afternoon. The game went into double overtime, with Niagara eventually pulling away with a 105-100 win. Evan Conti had 26 points. Both teams fought hard until the end. Quinnipiac will play Monmouth next on Thursday.
The women's basketball team traveled to St. Peter's and defeated the Peacocks 81-50. Samantha Guastella led the Bobcats in scoring with 16 points. Jasmine Martin's 15 was her first double-digit effort in 5 games. She had just 19 total points over that stretch. Quinnipiac now moves to 11-0 in conference play, extended its hold on the MAAC. Q30 Sports basketball beat reporter Morey Hershgordon is standing by to break down the women's side of the MAAC standings.
Thanks, Cliff. The MAAC women's basketball standings haven't really shifted too much as of late. The consensus #1, the Quinnipiac Bobcats, obviously. The Bobcats sit at a perfect 11-0 in conference, defeating opponents by over 20 points a game. They are undefeated this season when holding opposing teams to under 70 points. On January 22nd in Hamden, Quinnipiac thwarted 9-time defending MAAC champion Marist 73-55. The Bobcats got revenge from last year's devastating championship game loss in Massachusetts. Sitting at 19-3 overall, you can't really help but think about the Bobcats' chances at an at-large bid coming in March if they don't win the MAAC championship. Aside from a loss at Notre Dame, the losses to Harvard and Florida Gulf Coast really hurt. The Eagles sit at number 23 in the RPI, and a victory for Quinnipiac would have probably given the Bobcats a real case for an at-large. Assuming Fabry's squad does run the table in the regular season and ends up just short in a MAAC championship game, it would be awfully tough for the selection committee to not include what would be a 30-4 team. But aside from Quinnipiac, the rest of the MAAC is as follows. Marist sits at 10-2 after a nice road win over third-place Iona in New Rochelle. Trailing by 1 point with under 7 minutes to play, Madison Blaze tallied 11 of her team's final 13 points to put away the hosts. Iona falls to 8-4, 2 games behind Marist, and tied with Fairfield for third. In 5th place is Canisius at 6-6. 6th place and down begins with the tie between the Siena Saints and the Niagara Purple Eagles at 5-7. Rider is 4-7, followed by Monmouth at 4-8. In 10th place is St. Peter's at 2-9, and Manhattan sits in last place at just 1-10. I'm Morey Hershgordon. Back to the desk.
Well, Cliff, it's safe to say the winter season is in full swing, and it will be interesting to see where these teams will go.
Of course, Sports Paws will have you covered with all the latest. To make sure you follow us on Twitter at Q30 Sports, and you can always check us out online at q30television.com.
For Cliff Nadel, our producers, and our entire team at Q30 Sports, I'm Carolyn Fales. We'll see you next time on Sports Paws.